2022. This evening we have 4 members of the planning board. Kate Hollister is not with us this evening, and Bob, as he frequently is remote, calling in from overseas. So all votes this evening will be taken via roll call. As we always do, we will start with open forum, and I'll go to Joe. Anything from town staff for open forum, Joe?
Yes, so September 8th was the strategic planning retreat. It was well attended. There were over 300 people that had registered for the event. And at the event, we had a table that featured 2 topics, one being the recent MBTA communities legislation that people have heard about. And then another topic that we had was commercial recreation, looking to expand opportunities within town. So we actually have 2 surveys up right on the town website. You can see links to them here: commercial recreation opportunities and multifamily zoning requirement. That's the MBTA communities item. So people are welcome to go right on the town website. It's a short 10 or so question, less than 5-minute survey. It'd be good to get people's feedback. We've actually received over 100 responses already on both of them. So we're really pleased with the turnout thus far, and we're hoping to get some guidance on what the next steps will be.
Great. Excellent. Thanks, Joe. Anybody on the board have topics for open forum this evening?
Nope.
No? Bob?
Nope.
Great.
I'm good.
Anybody from the audience have any topics for open forum? Okay, seeing none, we'll move into our regular agenda. We were set to start this evening with a general business topic, PB 1703, a discussion regarding 22 Town Farm Road with public safety personnel. However, the applicants requested postponement of this conversation. I don't think we need to take a vote on this, do we? To continue?
It would be helpful just to vote to continue the discussion.
Okay, great.
I move that we continue PB 1703, 22 Town Farm Road, the discussion with public safety personnel till, when's the next meeting?
October 3rd.
October 3rd, 7 o'clock, meeting room, Town Hall.
Second. Motion and a second to continue PB 1703. All those in favor say aye. Bob?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
And I say aye. Okay, we'll move on to public hearing items. Our first is PB 2201, site plan review at 5 Makepeace Road. The applicant here has also similarly requested a continuation without discussion to October 3rd of 2022. Is there a motion to continue PB 2201?
There's a motion to continue to October 3rd, 7 o'clock, public meeting room, Town Hall, PB 2201, 5 Makepeace Road.
Second. Motion and a second to continue PB 2201. All those in favor say aye. Bob?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
And I say aye. Which brings us to PB 2218, site plan review at 164 Main Street. This is not being continued. The applicant's with us. Good evening.
Good evening, members of the board.
Howdy.
For the record, Attorney Melissa Robbins from the law firm of Farrell and Robbins. I'm here tonight for Morey Brothers General Contracting. Also with me tonight is Jeff Morey and Matt Waterman from Land Tech, the project engineer. We haven't been here for some time, but we believe, got everything completed that the board had asked us to. We did go back and meet with the Historic Commission. I know that you have a letter in your packet from Jim Zegowitz. We were very responsive to all of their requests. We did get a late comment today from Mr. Guthbrod, just reiterating his concerns and saying that he wants to make sure these things are done. So I had suggested perhaps adding a condition of approval to site plan review, just saying that we would build the project in conformance with the letter from Mr. Zegowitz, which details what we'll do, and very specific about the siding facing the street side on both the barn and the house. It would just be a friendly addition.
Oh, you're open to that?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Great.
And that's fine. We've been working cooperatively with Historic, and we have no issues whatsoever with their comments or requests.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
Great.
Engineering has reviewed this, and we got an email that they have no comments, which hasn't happened in the 2 decades that I have been permitting before this board. So absolutely no comments whatsoever from engineering. Although you'll see at the beginning of the decision, we already had agreed to do some O&M and some other things that are pretty standard conditions. So those are already included in your decision. We've reviewed all of the other conditions that your staff has proposed, and we have no issues whatsoever. We've updated the plan set to reflect some comments from conservation. In fact, that there was a pool in the backyard, so that was located, will be removed. And also to add the walkways that Ms. Hollister had asked for, showing the walkways from the parking areas into each of the dwellings, so you can see how they'll access that area. And other than that, we have no additional comments, so if the board has any questions, we're happy to answer any questions you might have.
Great. Thanks. Joe, anything from town staff?
Just what you see on the screen here in blue, that was the suggested condition in order to satisfy the requirements from historic.
Great.
Provided by the applicant. We had no issue with the language as it is written.
Yeah.
So we just added it right in the decision letter.
Okay. Outstanding. Great. So then we'll go to the board for any comments. We do have a draft decision in the packet, so we'll be taking action at the end. So, Bob, do you want to start us off with comments or questions?
I have none. I went through this and I have none at this time.
Okay. Great. Mike?
Just one question, just the name, curious, where did Reed Farm come from?
The former, you want to take that? Henry Reed was the original owner.
The original owner?
I think it was back when it was built in
Yes.
1746. That was,
That's right.
what I looked at, and I know Melissa had done a lot of historic research for the Board of Appeals meeting, and obviously Jim Zegowitz has, but I found it, and that it was the farm, they owned all of that orchard at one point, and it was known as the Reed Farm on the north side of Francis Hill, which...
Yes. 1746. Everybody knows it as Drew Farms, but they
Drew
didn't
Farm,
buy it
right.
until 1911, so it
Before
goes back
it was
to.
Reed, and they owned it for generations,
Right.
it said. I had it in my supplemental data report. But it was long-standing, it was the Reed Farm before it changed hands to what we all remember it as.
Interesting.
Well, thank you, that's all I had.
Huh. Very cool.
Now, is there one of those white plaques on the front of the house that denotes that?
It says Drew, I think, right?
I think it might actually say Drew
does,
family,
Ben
yeah.
Drew.
I'm pretty sure that it does.
Interesting, that's cool.
Darren, do you have any questions about?
No, I saw the letter from Conservation and then Historic, and I saw the letter from Mr. Zegowitz, everything was great.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I mean, I read through everything you guys are committing to doing. I'm aware of this late request from the Westford Historic Commission. I think it's great that you're willing to be flexible. I don't have any questions or issues with the decision as written. So I guess with that, we will open it up to members of the public who may want to get up and have any questions or comments answered about 164 Main Street. Seeing none.
I move that we close the public hearing. I move that we close PB 2218, 164 Main Street site plan review. Is this site plan review?
Yes.
Yes.
Second.
Motion and a second to close the public. Sorry, Bob?
It says we closed it. Okay, it's got to be fixed. The date has to be changed.
Oh, I don't. No, we definitely hadn't closed it. I
No,
don't
closed,
think.
hearing closed today, the 19th.
Yeah, it'll close.
It's still the
today.
19th here. Bob.
Yep. Yeah, it's tomorrow there.
Yeah, I'm looking at that thing.
All right, so motion and a second to close PB 2218. All those in favor, Bob, say aye.
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
And I say aye.
I move that we vote to approve the draft decision for PB 2218 site plan review, 164 Main Street, as written and recently amended.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the draft decision as amended. All those in favor say aye. Bob?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
And I say aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good luck with the project.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. We move on to our next public meeting topic, which is PB 2221. And this is a zoning topic to amend the zoning bylaw, section 3.3 for accessory dwelling units. This board has talked about this topic at least 3 or 4 times, but we are officially opening the public hearing tonight so that we can allow the public to offer comments before this is voted on at special town meeting. Is there a motion to waive the reading of the public hearing notice?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to waive the reading of the public hearing. All those in favor say aye. Bob?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
And I say aye. Is there a motion to open PB 2221?
So moved.
Second?
Motion and a second to open PB 2221. All those in favor say aye. Bob?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
And I say aye. All right, we are open. Joe, would you like to
Sure, I'll just throw a couple
set the
comments
table
on
a
here.
little bit? Yeah.
Sure. So as you mentioned, this board has actually been working back and forth with the Zoning Board of Appeals to look at ways to try to clean up, if you will, this portion of the zoning bylaw. And I think the purpose of the proposed amendments are to accomplish a couple things. One is an expanded purpose statement, talking generally about the purpose of accessory dwelling units being a way to increase affordability, encourage more economic and energy efficient use of the town's housing stock, retain the single-family character of, throughout many portions of town, and provide a way to have some additional housing units for people that may or may not have disabilities. There's also looking to create a mechanism for transferring the ownership of an accessory dwelling unit. Right now, the way the bylaw is written, one could interpret it to terminate upon somebody going and selling their home, even if somebody's buying it with the intent to have an accessory dwelling unit. They're not proposing any changes to it. So this amendment would provide a mechanism to allow that transfer of property and to keep that use going without someone having to come back and go through a public hearing process again. And then also just to simplify the calculation of area that's allowed for an accessory dwelling unit. Right now it's based on a percentage basis of existing gross floor area, which could, kind of penalize folks that have a more modest sized home. This would streamline it, make it a flat square footage allowance of 900 square feet, which is generally what the average has been throughout the last 7 years or so in our research of what's recently been approved. And it's also what the state says should be the maximum square footage of 900 square feet. So that's kind of hopefully the short version of the changes. And if you have any questions or anybody from the public has any questions, we're happy to answer.
Great. Okay. Well, yeah, we've been around this document a couple times, so why don't we go through the board, see if anybody has any final comments on the decision, and then we'll open up to the public for comments. Darren, would you like to go first on this one?
Sure. So, number 4, we talk about 3.3.1. Encourage more economic and energy efficient use of the town's housing supply. What are we getting at with energy efficient here? With just curious if this question comes up in the town meeting too, is someone saying, how is that addressed in this change?
Yeah, I mean, I think as, with a lot of, renovations to homes that there may be, whether or not it's going to be to some standalone detached structure, or whether or not it's, in addition to the primary structure, this board and or the zoning board of appeals are going to be looking at, that folks are going to be adhering to what the latest and greatest requirements are of the building code. There's also, one time there was some talk about maybe allowing some additional square footage for more energy efficient use. I think, this board and the zoning board kind of steered away from that, but at least through this, and along with any changes that may come from building codes in the future, it's just a way to reiterate that we're going to be looking out for making sure folks are sticking to the latest and greatest requirements for what we may see coming forward.
Okay. All right, that's fine. I had one more too, just a typo. If you go down to 3.3.5 conditions under number 2, it says a new affidavit to them Board of Appeals.
Okay.
Catch.
But
Kate sent you that, didn't
yeah,
you?
no. So I'll go beyond that.
Okay, thanks, Darren. Mike, do you have anything in your final review of this?
I don't. No, looks like we talked about and makes sense to me.
Yep. All right, Bob, do you have any comments on the amended zoning bylaw section 3.3?
I actually have one question I caught and I'm not sure how to handle it, and that is within, first and foremost, in 3.3.4 under standards, it says that sufficient and appropriate space for at least one additional parking space shall be provided by the owner. And that seems, I understand the intent, but if they already have a sufficiently large driveway with sufficient parking, why do they have to have at least one additional parking space?
So right now,
So I kind of read that as there has to be a parking space, right? Not that they have to create a new one. Subject to the following standards.
Okay.
I think this goes back to,
Okay.
didn't we dive into the topic of off-street parking a little bit? I think this was added in as a way to guarantee that there wouldn't be a situation where somebody is asked to park like in the street.
Correct.
Permanently, right?
Right.
So it's basically just saying they don't have to necessarily add a space, Bob, but they have to earmark a spot, to Mike's point, right? Make a space available that the person living in the ADU can park their vehicle in.
Well, okay, so I guess is that word additional is what's throwing me.
Yeah. Yeah. I do see that.
Additional means it has to be constructed.
Yeah. I do see his point.
Appropriate.
So it's at least one parking space for each unit.
Yeah, maybe.
I see it more like earmark than construct, right? So owner has to provide a parking space for the unit.
But I think if Bob is saying just
Yep.
strike the word additional and read the sentence, and
Sufficient.
I think it might still work without it saying additional. At least one parking space should be provided by the owner to serve the ADU.
yeah, I think.
I agree with that.
I think the way it's written now, it would suggest that you're required to have, say, 3 parking spaces on site versus 2.
Right. Right.
Right.
So we have a suggestion to amend. What is this? 3343. 3343. To strike additional.
Yep.
Okay, Bob. Any other? Is that the only item, or do you have other?
That's the, yeah. Now that we've picked that eliminates my other concern I was going to ask about relative to that. So I think that fixes it. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. I have no topics to bring up. You know, I'm good with everything else. That was an interesting piece, so I'm good. So with that, we'll open it up to the public. If anybody has questions or comments on the proposed amendment to zoning bylaw section 3.3 around accessory dwelling units, you may step up and ask it now.
Hi, Dave Guthrie, 77 Enmore. I had a question regarding, and I'm not very familiar with it, but we did this in Littleton. We had 7 A&Rs adjacent to the train. The town wanted multis. Logistically, I didn't think that was going to fly in town, so they offered us this accessory dwelling unit application. We didn't have a lot of success. It was pretty flexible. The feedback we did get was, and they're up to 1,200 square feet, whether it's detached or attached. We did an attached version as a spec. It gives people a little more flexibility. I don't know that there's a lot of harm to the community between 900 and 1,200, but it might give some folks a little more flexibility in that. The other feedback we got as far as extended family or unrelated was what happens if we don't have extended family any longer, if someone passes. We have the space sitting there that we could rent to subsidize our mortgage or taxes, but we can't use it. So yeah, I would just say stay as flexible as you can on that, or you're going to have a pretty bylaw that doesn't get tapped. That would be my feedback back to you, because again, we lived with this, we tried it. It didn't go great. I think it has some bugs in it over there as well, but I would stay as flexible as possible.
Yep. Yeah. Cool. Thanks.
Brett?
And I think, Joe, if I go back to what the zoning board put this sort of in front of us, they took a first pass at it. And I remember a matrix that examined all of the ADUs we had in town, and there was a range of sizes. And I feel like, 900 was...
902 is the average.
902 was the average size, yeah. And There were some that were a little larger, like 1,000 square feet, 1,100 square feet, right?
Yep.
And we had some conversation around whether or not it should be a percentage of the floor area, but then that kind of got complicated because if you're in an older house that doesn't have quite the same floor area that a more modern house, that would inherently limit the size of the ADU you could construct, and it seemed unfair for folks who might live in an older home, if I'm remembering that correctly.
Right, it was some of the smaller ones that actually had to go in front of the zoning board to get a variance.
Right.
There was one that
Right.
was right just under 600 square feet, and because they were in an older home, they were under the percentage that they were allowed,
Yeah.
so they had to go for a variance on that.
Yeah. I do think, to Mr. Guthrie's point, we should probably monitor that, how this does get used over the next couple of years, and if it makes sense to tweak up the size of the ADUs, because if we have people who are coming in and asking for a variance, they want something a little larger, maybe we do flex it. Once it's in place, I think it would be easy enough to amend it, in the future.
I think your 900 would probably cover 80% of your consumer, quite honestly, is what we heard as feedback.
Yeah.
We did have somebody that wanted a little larger, but I think if you're going to cap it, you're going to catch a majority of your market at 900.
Yeah.
I believe that.
This language does say too, it allows for deviation when necessary to install features that facilitate access and mobility for persons with disabilities. So there's some flexibility there, but it could even say to accommodate, you don't even say necessarily disabilities, you could just say based on the structure or to accommodate, I'd like to leave it flexible too. I think that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, if they have to put in additional infrastructure, like if you're putting in a separate cooling unit and things like that, it would be nice to be able to accommodate for that in the footprint without taking away from the actual living space.
Right. So if it says, instead of just saying for persons with disabilities, you could say, I don't know.
So I
leave it a
think
little more open.
that point came up with that. I brought one to ZBA where we had to make an extra wide entryway to accommodate a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's,
We had another one kind of similarly more recently where they had a garage as part of the ADU they were proposing, and because of the ramp that they were putting to get from the garage into the unit, they were over the size. So that was another example there.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if it's over 900, if it's proposed at say 1,000, they could still go to the ZBA,
you go to
right?
ZBA.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. We went to the public, no comments on this, so we'll leave this open, right, for at least one more meeting. Is that correct, Joe?
I move that we continue PB 2221, amended zoning bylaw, public hearing until October, who's the next
October
meeting?
3rd.
October 3rd, 7 o'clock, Town Hall.
Second.
Motion.
I was just going to say, we can draft a written recommendation for you all to review at the next meeting.
That'd be great.
Great.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, motion and a second to continue PB 2221 to the 10-3 planning board meeting here in meeting room 201. All those in favor say aye. Bob?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
I say aye. All right, that concludes the public hearing items on tonight's agenda. We'll move on to general business topics. The first one is a preliminary subdivision conversation on 81 Nutting Road. This is a preliminary subdivision conversation, which doesn't seem like we have a ton of people in the audience for this one, but sometimes gets a little confusing. It is a public hearing, so we actually need to open this. Is there a motion to waive the reading of the public meeting notice?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to waive the public meeting notice for PB 2220. All those in favor say aye. Bob?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
And I say aye. Is there a motion to open PB 2220?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second to open PB 2220. All those in favor say aye. Bob?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
And I say aye. And we welcome Jeff Morissette.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you.
The applicant is with us. Good evening.
Hi, yeah. For the record, my name is Doug Lees from Land Engineering and Environmental Services. We're the surveyor and engineer of record for this proposal. And with me in the audience are Bob and Marion Butler, the applicants and the homeowners. As you just mentioned, the property is at 81 Nutting Road. It's an existing, take my glasses off to read my notes, existing single-family house on the lot right now. The parcel's 3.2 acres. It's right next to Wendell Place, that was recently approved. Abuts it right to the east. What we're hoping to do is subdivide the property and put a second home in the back. To do that, we're proposing to put in a private roadway, and would, terminate back. It's about 400 feet of pavement. I think the right-of-way is a little over that, 480 feet for the right-of-way, creating two lots. The one lot that houses the existing house would be 58,000 square feet plus or minus, and the lot in the back, the second lot would be 48,000 square feet. When we're doing this, the existing driveway comes in like this. It's kind of highlighted in this orange here. Bring the new roadway in this way to maximize sight distance and stay away from some potential wet area over here. So we created a parcel A up there, basically a non-buildable lot in this area right here.
Yep.
That would be just land remaining. The project is, there's Keys Brook. Keys Brook is on this side of Nutting Road. So there's riverfront associated with Keys Brook. There's a culvert under Nutting Road right here, and there's a intermittent creek that I'm sure is at least banked, but there might be some bordering vegetated wetland. Again, the preliminary phase, we try to come in to get your feeling before they spent a lot of money on wetland scientists, and even the town topo is from the town GIS maps. We did do a boundary survey and we located the house, so we could make sure where they were, particularly with respect to the house. One of the questions that came up when we were looking at the concept was if we put in a 50-foot right-of-way, then the house would be within the front setback. So one of the waivers we've asked for is to put in a 40-foot right-of-way, which keeps the house 54 feet away from the right-of-way to maintain that setback. It was ask for a waiver from the right-of-way width, or go to the zoning board and ask for a variance from the set, because the house is existing.
Yep, yep.
But that was one of the reasons we wanted to locate the house in the boundary to get that, so we could find out what our restrictions were. It is in the Wetland Protection Overlay District 2, is most of the site, and, no, 3 is most of the site, and 2 is across the street, so 2 comes right through the corner right here. There is water in Nutting Road, private septic, so what the proposal would include bringing water up. Right now, there's utility poles bringing utilities up to the existing house, so it would be to continue using the utility poles to bring the overhead to the electric and cable and whatnot to the back to the new house. We just took a stab with some stormwater management ponds could possibly go. Seems to be good sand out there. He's done he's dug holes in the past, so we have a fairly confident that we have good soils out there. But again, there's a wetland of Keys Brook across the street, so there are some wetland areas in the site. The plan that we have in front of you would require, I believe, it's four waivers. We've submitted a waiver request letter. The private roads are 18, allows for 18-foot wide pavement with curbing. We're proposing 18-foot wide pavement, Cape Cod berm instead of granite curbing, and it stops up by the hammerhead to allow the water to get into the pond instead of trying to catch it into a catch basin and pipe it in. And right now, I'm not sure if we're gonna have curbing on the entrances. It depends on how the stormwater management ends up working out. That would be the main reason to have curbing. I'm showing a couple catch basins down the bottom. Again, the 50-foot right-of-way versus a 40-foot right-of-way. I mean, a 40-foot right-of-way versus a 50-foot right-of-way, and the purpose for that was to keep the house. Somebody did point out that the deck and the pool are actually within the setback from the bulb, but it's just a couple feet, and I think I could slide the bulb up a little bit and bring those so they're outside the right-of-way. When I did the original layout, we hadn't measured up the house and the deck yet, so that was on me. We're proposing a T turnaround versus a teardrop, and obviously there'll be a driveway coming off. I met with Deputy Dennehy from the fire department. I know it's Lieutenant Parsons that normally does the safety, but he had been on vacation, and Deputy Dennehy agreed to meet with me just to go over some of the things. So we talked about, they have some concerns, that you have a memo.
Yep.
Look at some of the fire access. It's a 400-foot roadway. It's 18 feet, which the town subdivision regulations allow, but the fire code calls for 20 feet for a fire access. So I have to work with them on the access to make sure that they're okay. But I had one meeting with them so far, and it's just preliminary in nature. So we'll try to work through those. I'm curious if the planning board had come across that before we have subdivision regulations. I know the fire code used to be 18 feet for fire access, and version 15 or something, whatever the latest one that they're using, it went up to 20 feet. So, back to I think it was, yeah, the turnaround, the curbing, the sidewalk, and the right-of-way. Oh, yeah, sidewalk, the town subdivision law regulations call for sidewalk, and with just the two houses and the steep grade, we weren't proposing sidewalk along the road. We got comments from planning, from engineering, and from fire. I didn't really see anything in any of them. I mean, the fire, it seems to be, fire access seems to be one of the biggest concerns in all three of the different comment letters, and it doesn't seem to be anything insurmountable, just we have to make sure we can provide them with access. So obviously, if you're gonna build a house, you want the fire department to be able to get there.
Yep.
I don't know if you wanted me to go through the comments, or if you've probably all read them, and I don't
I think we read them.
I don't know if there's any
Yeah, we go around. We'll go around the
Go
horn.
around-
You'll get
go
our-
around the
you'll-
table
You'll get
and-
our feedback, yeah.
You can smack me around a little bit, and
No.
then we'll move on.
No. Okay, great, thank you for that overview. Just going quickly to Joe, excellent staff report as always, so I think you
Sierra
did,
was
yeah,
the
Sierra put this one
primary,
together, right? Yeah.
writer on this
So
one,
excellent job to her, thank you for her efforts. Any comments before we go to the board for comments?
Nothing really additional to add. I think as was mentioned, I think fire access was one of the high-level items that was of concern from fire and engineering. Engineering will do their more in-depth review at the definitive stage, should it move to that point. But otherwise, no comments to add.
Okay, great. Would somebody like to start us off?
Sure.
Darren? Yep. Okay, Darren, Bob, I'm gonna let Darren go first this time.
Thank you. So, yeah, thank you for that overview. So, yeah, so the comments, I think you nailed them, the access, the fire department, concern about the width. Didn't Pacific Lane just go through this? Didn't they
did.
request to narrow it, but fire wanted to keep it at 20, I think?
I think that's right. Yeah.
So you can use that as sort of some case law.
What was that, which one was that?
Pacific Lane?
Pacific Lane, was that the one where it came to a bridge or a crossing and narrowed down for the crossing?
Right.
I think.
Something like that.
Yeah, we talked about that one, the fire.
Yeah, I would say that, so the access is a concern. Obviously, we're familiar with that area a little bit, so we've had some discussions about that. So there is some slope there with obviously stormwater to be dealt with, which I'm sure engineering will handle as well.
Yep.
In your submission. I have just a curious question. The parcel A that you have on the left, why is that separate from Lot A? I'm just curious why it isn't part of Lot A.
Oh, parcel A is the right-of-way kind of comes right up against the lot line here. I mean, if I could slide this over, we could combine it with this, but then we probably wouldn't meet your lot regularity coefficient.
Okay.
Not that that's why I did it, it was just,
I was just curious why it's not part of Lot
it would
1.
just be, there'd have to be a homeowners association to maintain, to own the road, so that would they would have that also, and it would just be wooded.
All right, and then I think engineering had mentioned they'd want to take a closer look at visibility as well.
Yep, yeah,
So
and
the
that is
things
one of the reasons we slid the road that way, but we'll get them a nice plan.
Yeah, I think the items that were already touched on are the main concerns I would have.
Great, thanks, Darren. Mike?
Certainly not to beat a dead horse, but my opinion on this is that if you can show engineering, you can get the truck up there and it can turn around, and that our criteria says that the width is sufficient, I'm inclined to agree with that, so long as the apparatus can get up there and turn around. And I think that would help them with the issue with the non-conforming issue with the existing house with that roadway.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think he's right. I mean, once we get those figured out, I don't have any issues.
Yep. Okay. Anything else?
Nope, that's
Nope.
it.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Bob?
Yeah, my only question had to do with the drive and the existing and the proposed driveway for the existing house. It seemed to me that the proposed drive, that just looks a little severe and not real workable for access. And I'm not thinking about access for fire. I'm just thinking about access for the homeowner. What is the situation with the existing driveway today? Is it paved or unpaved?
The existing driveway today is unpaved.
Unpaved, okay.
Yeah, and it's probably steeper.
So the reason for,
The proposed driveway is 9%.
and the reason,
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Bob, go ahead.
Go ahead.
okay, and the reason for not going straight off the proposed driveway to the house is because of the slope? Is that the reason?
Well, because of the existing house and the grade at the garage and to bring the driveway in, it's up a little bit higher than the house, so that it levels out up at the top for the fire trucks. So the new driveway will come in up off of the T up here. And not have a steep driveway coming out of the garage. You can have a nice flat driveway and just,
So-
you'd be driving.
So you'd actually, so you'd come out of the garage, you'd actually take a right, I
Yeah.
guess? You'd go up a little bit and then take a
And
left
then
and
come back down, yeah.
Okay.
That's just to avoid making the driveway steeper than it needs to be. I mean, if you have a nice flat driveway.
That could help Bob actually with drainage, because I did read a comment that there was some concern about drainage. Like once this is a paved, I guess, common driveway, or I guess it's not an access roadway, that there's some concern about, you know, runoff down onto Nutting Road. So at least in theory, that driveway going in that direction means that there'll be grass in between, like where the driveway kind of is in front of the garage and the roadway, not sort of more water running down onto this road.
Oh, yeah, I see that. It's just, I'm looking at that turn for the homeowner trying to turn into that driveway.
Yeah, oh, I see what you're saying, coming back home, yeah.
Well, and again, this is with the town topo.
Yeah, yeah.
So I imagine
Yeah.
things will change a little when we go out there and do on-the-ground topography.
So I guess
It did line up pretty close with because we located
Sure.
the driveway and the house and the shots were all within a foot, it seemed, elevation-wise.
Yep, yep. And I guess it's just something for you to take a look at, you
Yeah.
know, with your sort of, when you go back through this and are working more with the town, maybe take a look at that, the level of turn required for that proposed driveway at the existing house. Other comments, Bob?
Yeah, and just to follow up, I think the reason why I'm concerned about that is, you know, yeah, you build it and somebody buys that, and at some point they just decide it's not workable, and they're going to make modifications to it that might be outside of our process, and that could actually then affect that drainage in a negative way. So I think it's important to build something that hopefully doesn't have to be self-modified by the owner of that existing house. So
Yeah.
that's my only concern.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You got it?
Yeah, we'll take a look at that for sure.
Any other comments, Bob?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so I mean, obviously, I'll echo the fire truck has to be able to turn around, check your sight distance at the roadway. Drainage is obviously going to be something for you to work on with engineering. I seem to recall, didn't we, in the Wendell decision, the 50-year stormwater, didn't we overflow into an existing culvert or something?
We created a new one right around that area.
I think they worked a solution where they had an off-site place to put it under a certain storm event.
Right. That my recollection too. And it was an existing culvert that goes like underneath the roadway and drains into the wetlands.
But they were I think they were making some adjustments to it to allow for the added, yeah.
I was just going to ask, did that actually happen, or is it happening?
Well, the project hasn't been
Finished yet?
built yet,
But
so.
that still is the intention, is to do that?
Yep.
Okay. I was just thinking they might be able to afford themselves, since they're literally right next to that parcel, of the same kind of overflow mechanism if they're working a stormwater management plan for this.
Perhaps, that's certainly one of the things that, in a definitive process, that would get examined.
Yep. So just food for thought.
Yep, thank you.
We can share if you don't have them, we can share that approval and those plans with you so you know.
No,
think
that would be
about
good,
that.
because
Yep,
yep.
happy to do
Great.
that.
The only thing I was going to comment on is, you said you'd use the existing pole to get utilities and stuff up the street. I mean, my feedback to you is, if you're going to be putting in a roadway anyway and you're going to be pulling water, I don't know why you wouldn't bury the utilities. It'll benefit the existing homeowners if they choose to stay. It'll certainly be perceived as a benefit by anybody buying a new home on the second lot. I would encourage you to think about putting the utilities underground. If you're gonna put in a roadway, it's pretty minimal to remove the existing poles by the time you're tearing up and making a street.
But yeah, we'll look into it. I
Food-
know we're
food for
trying to
thought.
be cost conscious.
Yeah. Or you're already putting in a road, so it's kind of dimes on the dollar, really, at the end of the day, for something that will benefit the homeowners in that property down the road. So, those are my only comments.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
So there was no, that's great.
Yeah. Anybody here from the public care to comment on PB 2220 for 81 Nutting Road? No. Okay. Then I guess we will continue this. When would you like to come back before us? How much time? Is October 3rd too soon? Do you need a little more time, or do you want to see us on October 3rd?
So there's a couple possibilities. It is just preliminary, and your decision is not binding. So I think it would be to the applicant's advantage if they could follow through in that process with fire department to work
Yep.
through those issues.
Yep.
Yep.
To do that, though, I think we would need them to grant an extension of time for the board to
Yes.
act on this,
Yep.
even though the decision is not binding.
Yep.
But I think that's the one of the most important things for the applicant to work through is what will satisfy fire department for turnaround and those things. So but I don't
We
know.
work through that going forward with the definitive plan, like, we know that we have to satisfy them, or I don't know if there'd be a reason to come back to the planning board.
Well, I think that's a question for your clients as far as their comfort level starting a definitive process before they have a definitive answer on the turnaround.
Okay.
So that's like the applicant's risk.
Right, it's up to you. You may want to vet the access and turnaround issue before you delve into the definitive process, rather than, or it's up to you. If you would like to feel you had enough feedback tonight, you could certainly say thank
I
you.
think that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, based on where you are, my suggestion would be to see this process through and at
Yep.
least get confirmation on the turnaround,
With the
because
fire department, we'll
as
move.
I look at your plan, that's a showstopper, right? If you can't turn the apparatus
Yep.
around, you're gonna have a hard time getting this one through. I'd get that answer at least before you go to
I would
definitive.
too. It's cheaper in the here and now than the
Yep.
next stage.
Yep. No, I agree.
So-
So, October 3rd is 2 weeks.
Yeah, is that enough time, or then we'll meet on October, is that 15th? No, 17th?
24th, October 17th is special town meeting, so we had to.
So
move
we're out a
that.
week. So if it's not the 3rd, it's the 24th of October. Normally it would have been the 17th.
Then after that would be November 7th, just another couple weeks.
Yeah.
I guess if I can meet with fire, I'd probably have it done by the 23rd, but if, I know their schedule is, takes precedent.
We have one on the
Even when I was over the meeting with them, the bell rang and that ended our meeting,
Now we don't have anything on that meeting.
Okay.
But you don't have anything on for the
Deadline's
3rd?
this Friday.
Well, we could do it.
I'm sorry, did you say you don't have anything on for the 3rd?
No, we don't have anything on for the 24th right now, but the deadline is this Friday.
Oh, you want to make it the 3rd? That way you don't have to have a meeting on the 24th if nobody submits anything?
I want you to be able to get the answers. I mean, to me, it doesn't matter. We've
Yeah.
called special meetings, quick ad hoc meetings to move an item along if
I think
necessary.
I think we'll be all set to beat back
For the
on
3rd?
Yeah.
Great.
Gotta
Is there-
keep the pressure on me, otherwise I get lazy.
Well, let's not have that. So, is there a motion to continue PB 2220 to the October 3rd Planning Board meeting here in Meeting Room 201, Town Hall, 7 p.m.?
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second to continue PB 2220. All those in favor say aye. Bob?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
And I say aye. Good luck with your
you.
conversations with fire, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll move on to the next general business topic, item C, which is PB 1707. Spalding Hill Estates request for a modification to allow construction on St. Augustine Drive after Phase 1 and to release Lot 1 from the covenant for a model home, and a request to approve the Phase 1 plan. Good
Good
evening.
evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. For the record, Attorney Melissa Robbins from Farrell and Robbins. I'm here tonight for Archstone Builders LLC. Mr. Guthrie is also with me this evening. I think that there is 3 requests in front of the board, but one of them we actually don't need action on. The one for approving Phase 1. Phase 1 actually already exists in your plan set. There was only 6 sheets recorded, I believe, for this set, but there's actually 31 sheets in the set, and one of those sheets actually shows the phasing. The first phase, which is actually active right now, is up St. Paul Lane towards St. James Way. Really, it ends with a circle for a fire turnaround right there. And then phase 2, for construction purposes, is St. Augustine Drive. So we don't need any action from the board on the actual approval of the phasing itself. I do want to do the other requests separate. So I guess the first one I'll ask for is a release from the covenant for Lot 1. I highlighted it here just so it was very easy to see. What we'd like to do on this lot is just build a model home. So the release of the covenant would just be limited for that purpose. It'd be temporary occupancy permit for this purpose only. You can see this lot is unique from the other lots out here because we actually have access along St. Augustine Drive. It's equal or greater than the frontage in the rest of the subdivision. We can certainly access it. We spoke to the Canals and they have no issue with us using it for this purpose, which is for the request for the lot release. We've also spoke to the fire department just to make sure they have no issues with us constructing on Lot 1 without the other infrastructure done, and Lieutenant Parsons had no issue. The hydrants are actually already out there, and it's easy access to that lot as it exists today. The roadway, certainly St. Augustine Drive as it exists, there's no burden whatsoever for one house lot, especially one that will not be lived in. This again is just for a model home. So if the board was inclined to allow the release would be with all of those conditions. That the release is for temporary occupancy permit, that prior to full occupancy permit, all work would be done on St. Paul Lane to binder, and all other covenants would be released. So there's really no harm whatsoever of releasing this for a model home, especially where it's in the unique position of having direct access on St. Augustine Drive. So with that, that's my first request, and for the board's discussion, we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Sure. Thanks. Anything from town staff before we? Yes, Jeff.
Yeah, I just want to chime in. I know you've seen some, there have been some recent requests to release a lot for purposes of a model home. This sounds very similar, but it is different in the fact that they have a lot of frontage that actually is along an existing way. Some of it is even slated to eventually become public, I believe, but they already have practical access to this lot with real frontage and this infrastructure in place, which is a very different category in my mind than the prior request, which would have violated subdivision control law. And they're still acknowledging that they would not get the permanent certificate of occupancy until such time as the binder is down on St. Paul and the usual security for anything past the binder. So we did have direct conversations with Public Works and Engineering Department. We can confirm that they have no objection to this. Neither do we.
Okay. Great. Any conversation from the board? Bob, any questions or concerns on your end on lot release for Lot 1 for a model home?
Not now. I did have some concerns, but Jeff kind of addressed that for me. I just want to make sure that, yeah, we have the necessary protection in place if something does go haywire with that initial road, but it sounds like we have that in place, so I'm comfortable with it.
Okay. Mike?
I'm good with it.
Darren?
No issues.
Okay. So, and I don't have a concern as long as the home can't be sold, so, and it sounds like it cannot be, so. Okay, so do you want us to take a vote on this, or this is just a document we need to sign at the end?
So just to clarify, they cannot get a full certificate of occupancy until all the other stuff is done.
Right, so they could sell the house.
If the lot is released, technically I believe they could sell it. That's what prevents them. But most people these days, unless they have cash, they're not going to be able to likely go through that process, knowing that there is no
certificate
full
of occupancy.
certificate of occupancy.
And that lot release as drafted by your staff will be entitled. We'll have to record this at the Registry of Deeds, so it'll be very clear to any buyer that this does not have a full occupancy permit. And it's not our intention to put this out on the market for sale. Our only intention is for to build a model home.
Yeah.
And so we think that warning will be of record. Anyone doing any amount of research, it'll be front and center in their face, so they can't claim no warning.
Okay, great. Is there a motion
So
to?
do you want to vote?
Do you want to vote, or is this just us?
Oh, no,
signing?
we would
You-
require
you
a
need
vote.
Great.
Yes.
I move that we vote to approve PB 1707 Spalding Hill Estates request for modification to allow the construction of a model home.
Second.
I think we need to do a, should we say lot release for lot 1?
I think we should be explicit about the lot
Okay, no,
number.
you're, problem. Request for modification to allow construction on St. Augustine Drive after phase, nope, stop. Start over again.
Yep.
I move that we vote to approve PB 1707 Spalding Hill Estates, request to release Lot 1 from the covenant for a model home, and that's it.
Yeah.
Second that.
Okay, motion and a second to release lot 1 from the covenant for the purposes of building a model home. All those in favor say aye. Bob?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Darren? Aye. I say aye. Okay, let's move on to number 2.
Thank you very much. So the second one is for the delay in the improvements of St. Augustine Drive. So in the decision, there's many places that talk about the improvements to St. Augustine Drive. But many of the conditions say that it has to be completed before any house construction whatsoever on any of these lots. So since we are going to be building a model home only on lot 1, we're going to ask for a delay in this condition beyond lot 1, so that we can do this construction now. And the issue is, first of all, I don't think it's unnecessary to do the St. Augustine improvements for a model home on lot 1 for the reasons I just mentioned. But also, from the timing standpoint, if we were to start this construction now in September, it wouldn't be completed. So we would have to stop construction November 15th, and this road would be completely open for the entire winter till May. So it's just not a safe decision to do that, to go forward. There's really no need for the improvements for the model home on lot 1. There's certainly adequate access, there's already adequate fire protection. As Jeff had mentioned, we already spoke with town staff and Lieutenant Parsons, and they had no issues whatsoever, or no objections, I should say, to this request. So we would ask that the improvements for St. Augustine Drive be allowed to be delayed, and that the Lot 1 construction be allowed to commence for the model home on Lot 1. Before they improve.
Only.
Huh?
Only, right?
Only, correct, yes. This would just be able to allow the construction
Yep, yep.
of the model home without actually having to do the entire expansion of St. Augustine Drive right now.
Yep.
It doesn't change the condition of your permit, it just delays it till whenever it is that we have to start Lot 2.
Yep.
We can confirm that those departments also did not object to this request.
Okay, seems sort of tied to our earlier decision. Bob, any comments or feedback on this item?
I have none.
Great. Mike?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
None.
Darren?
No comments.
Yeah, no, it makes sense to not open up the roadway if you're not going to be able to complete the improvements prior to bad weather, because I think given the grade of St. Augustine, that could be a bad thing for Groton Road. Okay, so as long as town staff is comfortable, I guess we can.
I move that we allow the applicant to delay construction on St. Augustine Drive to construct the model home on Lot 1. That's it, right? Anything else?
Sounds right to me.
PB 1707 Spalding Hill Estates.
Is that sufficient?
Yep, as requested by the applicant,
That's
yes.
requested by the applicant.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second to allow for the delay of construction on St. Augustine Drive after phase 1 to allow for the construction of model home. All those in favor say aye. Bob?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
And I say aye.
Great, thank you very much.
Sure.
And just so the board is aware, I mean, if we do want to start construction on the other lots leading up to the emergency access road, I know that that's out there, we would have to come back to this board for review.
Yep.
And if we do get to that point, especially on lots 2 through 10 that go up to the emergency access road, we would come back here and ask for that relief. So as construction moves on, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw us again to talk about those lots in particular, 2 through 10, with the improvements of St. Augustine Drive being delayed, but we'll come back to this board and ask for that relief when we're ready.
Great.
Yep.
Okay, outstanding. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
Thanks.
Okay, we're continuing with general business. We're done with Spalding Hill, so we're on to PB 2223, A&R for 254 Concord Road and Carlisle Road. The plan filed in this application to adjust the common lot line shared by 2 properties to create a buildable lot at the intersection of Route 225 and Carlisle Road. Existing buildings to be demolished. Joe?
I think the description pretty much captured it all.
Sure
up on the
did.
screen, you can
A&R.
see the dash line, that's the existing lot line as it is. The more solid line is the proposed location for the new lot line. So you'd have lot 3, a new lot 3A, which is a little over, or a little under, I should say, 42,000 square feet. And then lot 2A, which would be a little over 48,000 square feet. Both would have sufficient frontage, sufficient access. So seems fairly straightforward. Right now the lots are in common ownership, so it's just an adjustment of the lot line. Obviously with the existing wetland flagged on here, you could expect at some point there would be filings with the Conservation Commission.
Okay.
I'm just trying to clarify here the existing versus the proposed.
They don't have any proposed
Existing
units, they
lot.
just do new lot lines.
Right, okay,
So I think it's one big lot now, and they're popping that one out.
gotcha.
It's, wait, is it one big lot, or is this dotted line the lot line?
Yeah, the dash line.
I think this dotted line is
It's in light gray.
this like dotted line is like the lot line now.
It says the existing lot line to be removed.
Oh, okay.
So there must be 2
combining.
lots. One is like this rectangular one, and then an odd-shaped one that actually is on Carlisle Road. Is that the current?
Second lot.
Right,
Yeah.
so yeah, you'd have this, right now, is this kind of odd one right here.
Joe, we normally
May or
have
may
the
not have
we
the
normally have the benefit of at least 2 Sharpies worth of coloring on these to tell us what the existing. We normally get a yellow and a blue Sharpie. Yeah, you have spoiled us. Okay, so I think I get it. So you're changing that, and instead the new lot line would be this one that delineates lot 3A from 2A. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
You may or may not have the owner sitting here now.
I think we get it. Unless anybody has questions. Bob, any questions on your side?
Not relative to this. The only question I had was, do we have a date on the existing home when it was built?
I see the applicant was.
No, we don't.
No.
It's just a farm stand there, isn't it?
There's
there a house too?
There's a farm stand on the right-hand lot, there's a farmhouse on the left-hand lot.
Okay.
So I'm guessing that Bob's question relates to if the house is of a certain age, may be subject to demolition delay, but that is something that will come up in the course when they file for a demolition permit from the building department.
Right.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. It doesn't really apply during the A&R. I was just curious. I'm also kind of sad because I used to shop at this farm stand, so it's just kind of obviously that's going to stop being a use. But okay, I'm fine with it. No question.
Mike, any questions on your side?
Nope.
Darren, any questions on your side?
Nope.
Okay. And I have no questions. This is cut and dry. It's an A&R. Is there a motion to approve
Thank you.
PB 2223 an A&R to adjust the common lot line shared by 2 properties? Maybe we have to say this at 021-0114-0000, so that we're very clear on which parcel we're talking about. Is that a parcel number, Jeff? I think it is.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
So moved.
And you usually throw in your verbiage about with no determination as to conformance with zoning.
Yes, with no determination as to zoning. Thank you.
I'll second the motion as amended.
Yes. All those in favor say aye. Bob?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
And I say aye. All right. We are on to general business topic E. And that is for the planning board to approve the draft housing production plan for 2022 to 2026 as recommended by the Affordable Housing Trust Committee. And Joe or Jeff?
One's me. So thank you, Mr. Chair. So for those who may not be aware, the town is required to have a housing production plan, and they must update it every 5 years. And the short version is this. It's supposed to be a detailed study that identifies the housing needs of this community, specifically as it relates to affordable housing, but also to include market rate and others, is just to look at all the types of housing that the town needs. And then the second part is to come up with goals, to acknowledge those and try to address any shortcomings. And then the third is really the strategy and the action plan to achieve the goals and, reach your, in every 5 years it's supposed to get updated and fine-tuned as things change in your community. And so we did avail ourselves of a DLTA grant through NIMCOG. NIMCOG was a tremendous resource here. The Affordable Housing Trust Committee, and the chair is here.
Hello.
Did an amazing job working on this. There was many hands involved in this. I think it was a great team effort, and I think the draft plan before you is, a very good work by many people. So we did include the draft in your packet, and as is required by the CMRs, we are hoping that this board would consider adopting or approving it tonight. The select board also is required to approve it before it can get submitted to DHCD, where they will review it, and if they like it, they'll certify it, and we should be in good shape.
Yes. Great. Okay.
I don't know if Joan would like to.
Yeah. Do you care to make any comments or?
No, my only comment is pretty much exactly what Jeff said. It was a great plan done by NEMCOG. I've been on the Affordable Housing, previously Affordable Housing Committee, now Affordable Housing Trust for several years, and was here for the last plan, was here through this plan, and I think we got some great improvements, have some great goals. Affordable Housing Trust intends to try to work, to help foster those goals and hope that those goals, as far as affordable housing go, can be met, and not only affordable, but Westfordable and higher AMI income. So NEMCOG did a great job. Town staff was amazing, and we really hope you approve the plan.
Great. Awesome. Okay, so let's go to the board for discussion and comment. Darren, would you like to lead us off?
Sure, no,
As the representative to NIMCOG?
that's right. It was certainly a comprehensive plan, so
To say the least.
it's, really extensive, so, no, it's great. Yeah, I think, I didn't read every single page of it. I did, certainly a high level, but it looks great. A lot of work went into it, and thank everybody for doing that, and I think, we look like we're in pretty good shape too, so important to plan to stay ahead of the curve there too.
Great. Mike?
I really basically echo Darren. I'm amazed at the amount of work that must have gone into this document. And I applaud everybody who's put the time into it. So I think they're doing wonderful things for our town.
Yep.
I fully support it.
Yep. Great. Bob?
No, it looks really good. I have one minor nit. I've caught two occurrences of it, and that is the section titles of housing for seniors, people with disabilities, and sober housing. You got a grammatical issue there in terms of, it looks to be like housing for seniors, housing for people with disability, and housing for sober housing. So you just kind of need to tweak that a tad. It might have to be for like housing for recovering addicts. I understand sober housing, softer term, but it's not work. It doesn't work grammatically for me in terms of that section title.
Bob, what page are you on?
What page, Bob, of the draft?
It occurs on Roman numeral page 4 as well as page 59.
Yeah. Housing for seniors, people with disabilities.
And again, what about the verbiage doesn't work for you?
You've got housing for, the way it's worded, you read it as housing for seniors, housing for people with disabilities and housing for sober housing. That's not quite. So it needs to be something like housing for seniors, people with disabilities, and recovering addicts.
So, okay. So
Where else do you need to restructure the phrase?
the double housing. Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
Sober living or something like that.
Sober living. Yeah. Okay.
A minor net. I mean, it looks very good. I realized when this was written, it took a lot of effort. My only comment would be I expect slightly different sales and price point numbers now that we're in 2022 with a slight downturn in the housing market sales. But overall, it's quite an extensive report, and it hit home for me, having worked years ago on the mill conversion reuse bylaw in the senior residential. That it's been over 20 years, and they probably do need to be revisited and have their affordable housing components.
Quite a few in the last few years. That saves a lot of time, it saves a lot of process, saves a lot of money to other folks as well, and it frees up more staff resources and the board's time to focus on other items. And then in between is the minor. We think there's opportunity there. You know, it's a big difference to say something could potentially be examined by the board in 2 weeks versus going through the public hearing process for, say, site plan review or special permit. By the time you add it all up, it could be 3 months and thousands more dollars. And for the larger projects, it's totally worth it. It should happen. But for some category, it might make sense to have just a public meeting process.
Okay.
And so we have some scenarios in front of you. We're going to ask you, as the host of this, to read the scenarios.
Okay.
And what we are looking for is just a quick, off-the-cuff gut reaction. Administrative, minor, or major.
Yep.
And we even have a not sure card in case, well, you're on the fence.
I didn't get one of those, but that's okay.
It's there. You probably don't need it.
Did I miss it? I missed
You're
it.
very, very opinionated, so you probably
That's
don't
true.
need it.
That's true.
Now, we do have, it looks like 2 members in our studio audience here who would like to also participate.
Okay.
You don't need to worry and, have any self-loathing if 10 minutes from now you think you'd have a different answer. You can always fill these in later, but we want the initial reaction. We're trying to see where we might have consensus, because the biggest part of trying to draft this possible bylaw is where do you draw the line between the categories. So we thought this could be not unfun as a way to start.
Yep.
So,
and just my understanding is we've captured, Kate has gone through this exercise.
Kate has gone through this exercise. We put her, she did not have time to meditate about it. She came to the counter, we ambushed her, and she's going through the same process.
Okay.
So she did actually afterwards, for quote fun, filled it out when she had more time to think about it, and she did have a few different answers. But I'm going to provide the answers for Kate, so I have cards for that.
Okay, and how is Bob participating?
Bob is going to participate at the same time when you make, and Joe will hold up the cards so we have the visual cue.
But okay, so Bob's just going to speak his comment while the
That's
rest of
right.
us hold up our cards.
We're not that hybrid where we can do the...
That's fine.
All right,
think
so
that's
wait,
all
I
fine.
need to find Kate's answers.
Okay.
Okay, I have Kate's answers.
Let's all get ourselves ready.
And Dylan, if you'd be kind enough to read the scenarios, we'd really appreciate it.
I will. Okay, so there are 8 scenarios here that we will go through. Okay.
Double-sided.
Double-sided.
14.
Did I say 8? There are 14 scenarios. Okay. Wow, okay. All right. Scenario number 1. Homer has found a new location for his Donuts bakery that was previously home to Paradise, a restaurant use. However, he wants to pave and expand the parking lot by 20 spaces and upgrade the stormwater system on site. No expansion of the building is proposed. When do we?
All right, 1, 2, 3, go. Ooh, okay. Let's see.
Bob, what is your answer?
Bob?
I'm voting for a review.
Full.
So,
What are the 3? Give me the 3 answers, please.
Administrative, so we wouldn't even see it. It would be handled administratively. Minor, which is essentially a general business topic where I think the town staff does the heavy lifting and we just do a sort of a cursory review, and then a full site plan review process as we already go through. Or not sure is an answer as well.
I'm going to vote for site plan review for that one.
Okay. So,
Four
And then our
minors.
members of the studio audience both suggested minor.
Five minors,
and
one-
Jeff, you're capturing
Kate
responses?
Hollister's, yeah. I'm getting the responses, so please keep your cards up. I got them
Excuse me.
right here.
No one snuck up on me.
Is this like the Olympics where you throw out the high and the low?
Exactly.
All right,
Okay, are we ready?
we're ready.
All right, number 2. George is curious about a vacant piece of land available on Washington Street. He proposes an 8-unit development, Delaware Crossing. The project features a mix of single and 2-bedroom units in a 2-story structure with adequate parking on site. Are we ready?
Ready,
One,
go.
2, 3. Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I had the wrong one.
The wrong one.
Yep,
Wow, really?
grabbed the wrong card.
Majors, wait, Bob.
Bob.
Site plan review.
Yeah. All right, so we have majors across the board, even from our studio audience.
Okay. After 20 years in town, Trader Tom.
Just, I'm not getting the benefit of seeing what everybody else said.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I will recap for you after every vote. So let's do that. So after the
unanimous.
after the first one, I think we were almost unanimous on minor, and you and Mike.
The site plan.
Mike said administrative.
Mike said administrative. You said major. Everybody else said minor.
Correct.
Okay.
On this last one, I believe it was unanimous. Everybody said full site plan review.
Yep.
I'll update you after everyone going forward. Okay. Scenario number 3. After 20 years in town, Trader Tom is moving his office to Florida. Mac is looking to move his business into Tom's old unit. Mac's retail sales use requires more parking than Tom's prior office use, but the site has enough parking to accommodate Mac's proposal. Are we ready?
Ready.
Okay, Bob?
Administrative.
And Bob, the result of that is unanimous. Everybody feels as you did. We all voted administrative. This is fun. All right.
For planning, this is fun.
For playing
this is
difficult
it.
qualifying.
Yeah, the scale is relative. Okay, so scenario 4. Mr. Spacely is looking to expand his sprockets manufacturing. I think you made it fun with the the classic cartoon references. I'm not gonna.
There's a few in here.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Spacely is looking to expand his sprockets manufacturing business. Because of the increased sprocket demand, he's looking to construct a 3,000 square foot addition to his building. There is adequate space on site for the addition and to expand the parking lot by 10 spaces as would be required. Are we ready?
Ready. All right, I need time to write this down.
Bob?
I believe George Jetson says minor.
I'm in the minority. So everybody was minor except for me and, well, Kate. Kate said full site plan. I said administrative because there's enough space to do it. But the predominant vote is with you, Bob, and minor.
Dylan, you said administrative?
I did.
Okay. And minors from?
The studio audience, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
It might have to be major if it involved new spaceport landing, but I think we're good on this one.
All right, scenario 5. Kim wants to expand her beauty salon. She proposes a 300 square foot addition to one side of the building where an unused concrete slab now sits. No other changes are proposed, and the parking on site is still adequate with this expansion. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Bob?
Bob?
Administrative.
All right, hold on.
I was on the fence.
We have administrative. Kate is administrative, not sure. And our studio audience is split. administrative and minor.
Matt's worried he's not gonna get meetings anymore.
All right, so. We have, looks like 5 administratives. One of them is paired up with a not sure. And we have 2 minors.
Yep, that sounds right. So it was mostly administrative with 2 people voting minor, Bob. Okay. On to scenario 6, which is Kim is now making a career change, so she sells her beauty salon and purchases a law office. There are a dozen more spaces than required by zoning, and she wants to tear up the middle row of 10 parking spaces to install a landscaped island. No other changes to the site are proposed. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And Bob?
Minor.
Bob says minor. Okay, so Bob, everybody else said administrative. You are the only one saying minor.
Okay.
All right.
Just concerned about drainage on that one.
Yep. Okay. On to scenario 7. Martha wants to add more parking for her kitchenware store, Kitchen Living. The existing parking was striped with very large spaces, 11 by 18, and she wants to resurface a line of parking and restripe it to gain 3 spaces. There's no expansion of pavement or any other changes proposed. Are we ready? You want me to read it again?
Yeah, if you would.
Yeah, sure. Martha wants to add more parking for her kitchenware store, Kitchen Living. The existing parking was striped with very large spaces, 11 by 18, and she wants to resurface a line of parking and restripe it in order to gain 3 spaces. There's no expansion of pavement or any other changes proposed.
Okay, I'm good.
What's your feeling?
Administrative.
Well, you are in the majority, sir, with everyone voting that way other than me. I said minor.
And Kate had administrative, but also a not sure.
See, you can't have the not sure card. That's what I was saying.
All right, we're on to scenario 8, which does carry over. Colonial Oven Bakery is a successful bakery in a commercial plaza in Westford. They would like to convert 3 existing parking spaces to provide some limited outdoor seating opportunities for their customers on a seasonal basis. None of the improvements are permanent, and the layout has already been reviewed to the satisfaction of the Public Safety, Engineering, and Health departments. Okay, you ready?
Ready.
Bob?
I'm in the outs.
Administrative.
Okay, Bob, what's your vote?
Administrative.
Yeah.
And that is unanimous, except
Yes.
for one member of the studio audience who voted minor. Okay. All right, on to scenario 9. The Property Brothers secured a special permit from the Zoning Board of Appeals to convert an existing dwelling constructed circa 1777, Bob, into a total of 3 dwelling units, which qualifies as a multifamily development. Although minor work is proposed to the building exterior to facilitate the conversion, there are no additions or increases to the building envelope. And I guess I have to ask this as a 3-part question. You want 3 takes on this?
Yes.
Right, but-
So just read that first.
So yep, so that's the first one. 17 converted into 3 dwelling units, multifamily development. Okay. Ready? All right, is everyone ready? 1, 2, 3.
Bob?
Bob?
Full site plan review.
So you and I voted full review, everybody else said minor. And now there's a follow-up. So everybody has to get ready to revote. What if the proposal results in a 200 square foot addition to the building? Bob, I don't think you're gonna reduce your vote if it's more
I'm not gonna
complicated.
change.
Yep. So everybody, okay, so then the only change there, Bob, is that Kate now goes from minor to major not sure. And then there's a second follow-up here, so we all have to get ready to vote again. What if the proposal is for a total of 4 units?
So no addition, but 4 units instead of 3.
No additional square footage, but just 4 units instead of 3 units. Again, I don't think Bob's vote's gonna change. And that's all good. Kate had to have been major again. well, no, maybe not, because she was, no, if it doesn't have an extreme.
No, she went back to
minor.
minor.
Okay. So that's the same as it was under the first scenario, with only Bob and I saying full site plan and everybody else saying minor. Interesting. Okay.
Property Brothers, that's funny.
If they're filming in town, it's gonna cause some traffic. All right, everybody ready? Scenario 10, here we go. Monterey Jack owns a food truck business called the Grilled Cheesery and would like to set up his food truck in a large existing commercial parking lot in town. Comments from public safety and health officials have been addressed. Monterey Jack, the Grilled Cheesery. Okay, is everybody ready?
I'm hungry.
Grilled Cheesery. It's in, wait a minute, let me just double check. It is in, again, it's in a large existing commercial parking lot in town.
Tough one. Bob?
Bob, what is your vote?
Administrative.
All right, hold on. So
everybody was administrative except for Kate and I, who were minor.
Okay.
The key was that the comments had already been received and addressed.
Yeah.
That makes it administrative versus minor, in my eye.
Yeah. We shouldn't slow down the fun, but I have a question about that. All right. Scenario 11. Green hypothesis of very. Are these? Who wrote these? Because you have a. You should be.
We all worked on it.
These are some quality faux business names. I love it. Okay, Green Hypothesis, a very successful gym business, personal service establishment. Personal service establishment?
Yeah, just go with it.
Has relocated to a larger space in Westford. The property owner, Rutledge, would like to convert the building to a floor is lava indoor commercial recreation facility. The building commissioner has opined that the proposed use would be substantially less intense than the prior use. Okay, so they want to convert a.
They're just trying to screw you up with all this stuff.
Yeah,
Right? It's
exactly.
a simple question.
Yep. Okay, everybody ready? Oh, go ahead,
I'm
Bob.
not. I did not hear I didn't understand you when you said the two uses. Could you repeat
Sorry.
those for
Yep.
me?
So the Green Hypothesis is currently a successful gym business. They've relocated to a larger space in Westford. The property owner, Rutledge, would like to convert the facility to a floor is lava indoor commercial recreation facility. The building commissioner has opined that the proposed use would be substantially less intense than the prior use. So it's going from a gym to a floor is lava recreational facility. Are you ready? What's your vote?
Yep. Minor.
Major. Wow. Okay, everybody is administrative except for Kate, who is major or not sure, and you are minor. So, yeah.
So ADM.
Everybody else is ADM.
Oh, it's minor. Okay.
Yes. Okay, scenario 12. Here we go. The Daily Bugle, a newspaper printing establishment, has gone digital and is downsizing their space, freeing up a 2,000 square foot unit in a commercial plaza. Thumbs Tax Services, a professional tax and financial services firm, would like to relocate to that space. Change in use from printing establishment to business or professional office. The only proposed exterior improvements relate to signage, which is permitted under the bylaw. Bob, are you ready?
Yeah.
What do you got?
My spidey sense says administrative.
I like it.
Thanks, Bob.
So that one is across the board administrative, with Kate also offering a not sure in there, but she did say administrative, but not 100% sure. So that one seems unanimous. All right, a short scenario is next. Twinkle Toes, owner of Bedrock Bowling, proposes to construct a new 8,000 square foot bowling facility. Are we ready? Bob?
I guess Fred says major site plan review.
Fred. Yes. Unanimous that it was a full site plan review.
Now, you know that was Fred's bowling nickname, right?
Yes,
Okay.
Twinkle Toes.
I did not know that.
Public service announcement.
These are great. Okay, and our final scenario. Jack O'Lantern is the owner of a commercial plaza and is looking to temporarily fill one of his vacant storefronts with a holiday store. Smashing Pumpkins Costume Parlor would occupy the 3,000 square foot space for 60 days. So, temporarily fill a vacant store in a holiday store. Okay, so this is the initial thing? Okay. Bob?
Administrative.
That is unanimous. There are two follow-ups, though. So follow-up number one is, what if this retail use would make Jack's property no longer meet parking requirements during this time frame? Everybody ready? Okay, so if that was the case, if it would, if this use would make Jack's property not meet parking requirements, what's your thought then, Bob?
I'm going to go minor.
And that is unanimous. Everybody agrees with you. Everybody said minor. And now the second follow-up. Jack receives another inquiry, this time from Sketched in Stone Art Gallery, a local nonprofit. They would like to feature some of their members' work in an event one weekend a month from November through April.
Repeat that again.
So, yeah, I'm trying to figure this one out too. Jack receives another inquiry, this time from Sketched in Stone Art Gallery, a local nonprofit. They would like to feature some of their members' work in an event one weekend a month from November through April. Is this in addition to this other use or instead of?
No.
Even if it was, it's October, right? So November, Halloween's over.
Oh, right. Right.
But notice they don't say anything about parking, so you have to presume parking is okay.
I mean, I'm thinking about it, I'm like, if it's an event,
Nate,
is it?
don't think about it.
It's stoned art.
Essentially a temporary.
Bob, what are your thoughts there? Now it's a nonprofit displaying art
Once a month for 6 months.
once a month for 6 months.
I'm trying to get myself to go minor, but it's a major review. I'm just concerned about parking.
Okay. All right, we're all over the map here. So we've got Darren and Mike saying administrative. Kate and I said minor.
Contestants.
Yeah, our contestants both said administrative, and you were the only one saying major. So that was a total mixed bag there on that one. All right.
Wait a minute, so Mike, you were,
Admin.
Admin.
Darren, you were admin.
Yeah.
Bob was major, Kate was minor, Dylan was minor, studio audience, both administrative.
Both administrative.
All right.
We did have a sound effect.
So that was fun.
Yeah, good.
It's informative because there's some areas where it's consensus,
Yeah.
no brainer, and then we're trying to figure out those areas where we might need to figure out how to better draw the lines and where you start to depart. And so we think the key is, can we draw the line such that we can get more consensus, or do we go with whatever's the more conservative in order to satisfy the board and perhaps town meeting? But this will allow us to draft different questions that get at the situation better. So thank you for indulging us.
Yeah.
No, that's good, Jeff.
You're
That
going to
was
be
fun.
punished with another round of these, though.
That's
Punished.
It's that's not punishment.
Oh, that's great. And
Right.
thank you guys for the
Thank
input.
Thank you very much too.
It's nice
For our
having,
studio audience. There's a case of turtle wax on your way out. Help yourself. All right. All right, great. So that brings us to the end of our general business topics. The only item left is to review the minutes of August 15th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of August 15th?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes of August 15th. Any discussion?
Fine to me.
No.
Bob?
No, I have none.
Yep, I had no concerns either. So there's a motion and a second to approve them. All those in favor say aye. Bob?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
And I say aye. We have no correspondence. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor say aye. Bob?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Darren?
Aye.
And I say aye. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.